Good evening and welcome to Illinois Law. This is a program sponsored by the Illinois State Bar Association. My name is Gilda Hudson Winfield and I will be your moderator this evening. We've assembled a panel to speak to you today about senior scams. Our panelists are as follows. First, Eric Salcedo. Eric serves as the Community Outreach Coordinator for the Attorney General Lisa Madigan. He regularly gives presentations on topics such as consumer fraud, identity theft, internet safety, and cyberbullying. Our second panelist is Katie Walsh. Katie is the Director of Senior Services at the Cook County Sheriff's Office. Ms. Walsh is a civilian employee who coordinates community policing programs for senior citizens. She also is an active member of the Cook County Suburban Elder Justice Coalition, which advocates for a coordinated response to elder abuse between law enforcement and elder abuse provider agencies. Our third panelist is Sergeant Jim Henley. Sergeant Henley is a Cook County Sheriff's Police and works with the Financial Crimes Unit. He's been with the department for 25 years and has been in patrol investigation and various federal task forces. Jim's area of expertise has been related to money laundering, financial crimes, and senior financial exploitations. Jim is a regular speaker on these subjects. Welcome.
Thank you, Gil.
Thank you.
Senior scams. What exactly are senior scams, Jim?
Senior scams are basically crimes that are committed against elderly people, and they take advantage of their trusting nature. And some of the scams we'll probably talk about in a little while, but they're targeted specifically at seniors.
Okay. Let's talk about some of these scams. What is the grandson-granddaughter scam?
I think Eric might have a good handle on that one.
Yeah, that is one where I call you up. Say you're too young to be a grandmother, but say I give you a call and I'm a scam artist and I pretend to be your grandson and I say, Grandma, it's me, Eric, your grandson. I was arrested up in Canada and I need help trying to post bail. Hold on, let me give the phone to the Canadian Mountie and he'll tell you all the details. My accomplice will grab the phone and tell you, yes, your grandson's been arrested. If you want him to get out of jail, you have to wire $2,000 up to here in Canada to get him out. You go, you run to the Western Union, you wire the money. I call you again, I say, Grandma, thank you so much, but hold on, the Mountie wants to speak to you again. He grabs the phone and says, yes, well, if you want your grandson to have a good defense attorney, you have to pony up another $2,000 and so forth. So once
it's all about getting money from the senior citizen.
And sometimes they'll say, make sure, don't tell Mom, don't tell Dad, Grandma, just please help me out of this mess, and because they don't want them calling the family members and finding out they're really not in Canada, they're really not in jail. They just want the one senior individual to continue sending that money.
And the majority of these crimes, they prey upon what we talked about a little earlier was it's almost like a fishing principle. You know, it's the hook, it's the reel in, and then it's the delivery. They're playing upon the fear of these poor people. You know, here's my grandson, supposedly he's in jail, or as Eric talked about, supposedly, he's in a hospital, and he needs medical treatment. And, that they're just preying upon it, but they're so good at this. They're so good at it that these people will actually run out, drive to someplace in Western Union the money immediately because they're trying to save their grandson.
Okay.
One case in particular in unincorporated Glenview just last fall, a grandmother was called and same scenario, but in her case, she sent out the money, and in her own life, she was sick, she was fighting cancer, she was going through treatments, and it's something like that that will just really make them want to give up and just think, what am I doing here anymore? And they'll become so down on themselves, which is one reason why we work closely with the Suburban Elder Justice Coalition to make sure, and in that case, it was North Shore Senior Center, was able to get a social worker to her home. So even though it wasn't an elder abuse situation where she knew the abuser, they were able to just get in there and check on her and see. And in that case, it was her savings. So that was her little nest egg that now is gone.
Yeah. Let's talk about another scam. Apparently there's such a thing as a lottery scam?
If I may, the lottery scam is really fantastic. You're sitting at home and all of a sudden you either receive an email, you receive a phone call, or you receive a check in the mail. And out of 6 billion people on the planet, you've somehow won this lottery for the Australian lottery, the Canadian lottery, the Swedish lottery. But out of 6 billion people, you've won a lottery without buying a ticket. But you know, for some seniors or for the average person, you're looking at, say, they told you that you won $500,000. And here's the hook, Gilda. All it is $3,480 in service fees and taxes, and the money will be sent right to you. Of course, it's Western Union or it's a bank overseas where you have to wire the money to, and that's part of the hook again. You know, all it is $3,000 to get $500,000. So there's a little bit of greed involved in this on the victim's part, but the thing is you never bought a lottery ticket. But again, you know, and then once you send that money in, they'll call you back up and say, well, we were wrong, we recalculated, it's another $4,000, or it's continue, and this will go on until you finally say, you know, but again, we're getting back into what Katie talked about and what Eric talked about. We're getting back into the embarrassment factor of these types of crimes for the senior. They're not going to go and tell their neighbor or tell the police, like, I got suckered into this.
Yeah, that's the question. Why do they work? Why are they so effective?
I think well, at least for the lottery scam, it makes sense, right? Because it's like you won all this money, but instead of using your own money to pay for the taxes, here, we'll cut you a check from your winnings, and you could use that money to pay for your taxes. So it's like, oh, okay, you know, here, I don't have to use my own money. I'll use the actual winnings to pay for it. I'll deposit it into my bank account, and I'll see it instantaneously be available as funds available. So now I could send that money out.
But to go back to what you were asking, Gilda, the thing is that you end up with, the reason the seniors are targeted is because, number one, because of their age, probably maybe their spouse or their mate is gone. They're living by themselves. Most of their friends are either far away or, you know, their friends have been dying off. And so they're looking for somebody to talk to. They're looking for some interaction. Family members may not be going to their house as often as they would like, and they're just looking for somebody to talk to. And
I was going to say, with our law enforcement academy, we're with the seniors for 6 weeks, once a week for 6 weeks. And there was one group where the woman didn't come up to me until the very end. So it was 6 weeks into it, and she had someone calling her every day. But as she was telling me about it at the graduation ceremony, and she had been sending money up to Canada, she was caring for an adult, handicapped child, and she looked forward to those phone calls. And she really thought that this was someone on the other line that was her friend and that she trusted, and she did continue to send the money, even as she's participating in a community policing program. It wasn't until she finally had that trust and thought, you know what, maybe for the benefit of others, I better say something so that it stops for me, but maybe I can stop someone else from becoming a victim.
And also, the seniors, they have money. You know, not saying that they're rich, but they don't have a mortgage to pay for anymore. They don't have to pay for kids or large grocery bill or big household. You know, so they have cash on hand. And when the criminals, you know, they don't have jobs, when they call or knock on their door at 2 in the afternoon, the seniors are home, they're retired. So they're easy prey that way.
Okay.
now to continue on what Eric said, the U.S. Census estimates there's 78 million plus people who are baby boomers now who are either retired or going to be retired. And then the other estimates range anywhere from 1.4 trillion to 14 trillion dollars in assets now, like savings and stocks and bonds that are going to be taken into liquidity, because as people get older, they want to be able to get to their cash easier. So we know this, and then the criminals know this. So that's one of the biggest reasons why we thankfully, you know, we're here talking to you about this so we can get the word out about this. You know, there's easy money is not out there for the retired person because that's their income, but the criminals are looking at that money too.
So there's obviously an increase in these types of scams.
Oh.
Is that safe to say?
Oh, definitely. With the economic conditions that we've talked about,
And our population as a whole is aging. There's more people 85 and older than ever before.
but you end up with a scenario where, you know, the economy is not in great shape. People are living paycheck to paycheck, and where you would have your normal criminal element who would be doing some of these crimes, we have other people now getting involved in it to either supplement or to offset, you know, what they're missing from their daily lives. Because all of a sudden, here's this cash bank sitting in front of them, so why not take advantage of it?
Okay. And it's basically fear and embarrassment, perhaps, that drives
Yes.
seniors not to report these crimes. Is that your experience?
And they'll often not want their family to know that they have let their guard down, or maybe they can no longer care for themselves or be alone in their home making the right decisions. They don't want that family then to make the decision, well, ma'am or dad, maybe you need to move into a nursing home. Let's put the house up for sale. They're afraid to lose that independence.
The stigma of their friends.
Right.
Their friends, looking at them and saying, how could you fall for this?
Yes.
And we tell them at the academy over and over that by telling the friends, it's going to stop them from being a victim. And the more people that you can tell, those people will then realize it happened to my friend, it could happen to me. They're not going to fall for that same scam.
And it can happen to anybody. These people are some of the best telephone people on the planet. They know how to prey on you. They really do. So,
Yeah, we've talked about how it just takes you to let your guard down for that split second where you fall prey to the scam and give out that information that gives them access to your bank account, or you write a check or you wire money just for that split second.
Okay. So it behooves the senior to be on their guard and to know that this type of thing is out there.
definitely.
Well, let's hold that thought. We're going to take a little break, and we'll be back to talk some more.
Bye, Tyler.
Bye-bye, Tyler.
Dear, it's time for serious talk
Oh?
about my daycare. When I started out, it was just to help the neighbors. But lately, it's getting to be a real handful. I need some help.
What can I do?
I need advice on more space, a loan,
What about incorporating?
and insurance.
Wait, I know who we can call.
Times like this require sound advice. Your lawyer can help. A message from the Illinois State Bar Association. Over and over. Time and again.
Drive me nuts. Shut up. You're the dumbest.
Generation after generation.
I hate you. I hate you too.
Isn't it time we stop the cycle? Now.
I hate you. I hate you.
Stop adult violence. Teach kids peace. A message from the Illinois State Bar Association.
Good evening, and welcome back to Illinois Law. We've assembled a panelist of experts to talk about senior scams. And we've talked about some of the types of scams that are currently being perpetrated on our seniors. And one of the scams apparently is the utility scam.
Yes.
Can you guys speak to the utility scam and tell us a little bit about it?
Basically, what it is that you'll receive a knock on the door. It'll be somebody appearing to be in a uniform. It's usually just a shirt with a name typed on it. And they'll tell you that down the block, somebody had a massive party, blew out their circuit panel, which caused disruption to the electrical network in the neighborhood. So here comes the fear part of it. The fear part of it is that your house could possibly catch on fire from the electrical activity. But if you come with me, I'll take you downstairs to the basement. I'll show you your electrical panel and how we check it out, and you'll be fine. So they take you down the stairs, and all the victims that we've talked to said the exact same thing. They said as they're walking down the stairs, the guy is on the phone speaking in a foreign language.
So there's usually more than one person.
You only see one initially, but what happens is the front door is left open because you're going downstairs. 2 to 3 other people will come into your house, go through your house, steal your cash, steal your jewelry, that type of thing. And this person's holding you downstairs, pointing to something on a panel and making up some kind of gibberish. And then all of a sudden when you're trying to go back upstairs, the phone call will end and, okay, walk outside. And then maybe that day or another day later, you go to get your cash out of your drawer and the cash is completely gone. And they do this with the gas because guess what? There's a gas leak down the block. Gas might be in your house, could possibly blow up. They do it with the sewers. They do it with everything. So anything that they can instill fear into you, just to get into your house. That's the biggest thing.
And what's your experience, Eric, with that type of?
Well, that we have a Silver Beat program where we train seniors on these types of scams, and one of the things we try to tell them is, should anyone ever knock on your door, don't just ask the CID, call the actual utility to find out, have they sent someone? And if you're not able to contact anyone, call the police, because you just don't know what the intentions are
And
of that person at the
the
door.
IDs
Yeah,
can
that's
be
great
made
advice.
anywhere, and it can all be fake IDs.
One of the best things that we try to tell people is number one, never open up your door. The only time you should open up your door for anybody is if you called and said, okay, I'm making an appointment, you come over and fix my washing machine and my dryer. I'll be there between 11 and 1, so you know they're kind of on your way. But at any time somebody rings your doorbell, look outside. I'm from ComEd. What's the biggest thing you're going to see on the street? You're going to see a ComEd truck. You'll never see that with these people. If it's a Nicor, you'll see a Nicor truck. But again, like Eric said, call immediately. You call Nicor. Stay on the phone with them. Your house isn't going to. If you didn't notice any problems right then and there, you can call and find out if they're there. And if you're really in doubt, call the police. Call 911. Stay on the phone with them. Can always send a squad car over to check on it. Takes 2 seconds, and if they are who they are, we'll verify it for you.
And there's so many iterations of it. We've seen before in the past, it was during the census, people are
Yes.
posing as census workers. Or another version is, oh, this is the house we grew up in. Can we, take a tour of the house, let us in? Anything to get inside the house.
And they've gone as far as Jehovah's Witnesses, too.
There was
So-
one just recently where the tree in your backyard looks like it's going to fall on your house. Please come back here, let me show you, and I'll tell you what we can do to fix that problem. And as the elderly gentleman went in the backyard, all
They were
his
in the house.
valuables were cleared out from the front door. But one of the fun things that we're doing right now with the Illinois Triad is we're hosting a convention October 5th, and one of the workshops, or it will be a general session, is Who's That Knocking at Your Door? And what we have lined up is people from Nicor and People's Gas, Commonwealth Edison. We have police officers. Sergeant Jim Henley will be in this fashion show as well. And we make a runway and have music.
I will be one of the good guys, though.
And
Very good.
but it does, if the seniors are interested, they're welcome to come out to this. It's in Tinley Park. But it makes it kind of fun, but certainly a very serious subject, and something that we want to make sure every senior citizen really understands. Because in the back of their mind, they do know their home is their castle. To be safe, they need to keep that door closed. And they just want to be polite. They want to greet somebody, and they want to send them on their way nicely. But you just can't do that with the bad guys.
So some of the things that seniors can do to prevent these types of scams is, first of all, be vigilant about their space. Would you agree? Don't let anyone in that
Absolutely.
they're not
Yep.
comfortable with.
Not to even open the door.
Don't even open the door. It was, like Katie mentioned, you're not being rude to somebody. This is your home. This is where your valuables are at, and this is where your life is at. Do not open the door. If you don't know who's there, like I said, contact. If they say they're from Nicor, call Nicor. If you're really in doubt and you feel something is really bad, call 911. Police officer can stop by. One of the other things we tell people is don't keep all these valuables in the house. Don't keep all this money in the house. So a simple safe deposit box. You can go visit, your jewelry, and you can actually touch your jewelry and everything else every time you want to go to the bank. But banks don't get ripped off. The boxes don't get ripped off. So try to limit what's in your house. Yes, you have to keep money there for your everyday expenses, but do you have to really keep $10,000 there? Do you have to keep $50,000, as one lady kept in her house, and it was stolen? One of these ruse burglaries. So, and then the other thing too is, I know this is going to sound kind of weird, but unless you're having a massive heart attack, do not make an instantaneous decision. Stop, take a breath, think about what's going on, think about what you're being asked to do, as we discussed with some of these other scams. They're trying to push you into a corner by fear. Slow down, take a breath, and say, wait a second, this doesn't sound right. And then call the police immediately.
Yeah.
And
And
go ahead.
it's either fear or enticing you with a deal of the century that you cannot pass up. You would be a fool to
But
turn
you
down
have
this
to
money.
decide
Yes.
instantly.
Instantly.
The decision needs to be done at this moment. And you don't have time to call a friend, or you say, oh, I need to run it by my daughter or my son or a friend.
And I would imagine if you say that kind of thing, then they're going to
They
back
have a
off.
line, they cut, well, no, they don't. They have a
No,
line to
tell me.
come right back at you why you can't contact someone, why you need to make that decision on your own.
If you contact somebody, that's going to spoil the agreement. This is for you and you alone. They're always going to have an answer for whatever you throw back at them. They're always going to have an answer. The biggest thing is like I said, take the breath, stop, think about what's going on, and it's the old adage, if it's too good to be true, it usually is.
And even at your door, it can be on your phone as well. And that's something that we talk about with the telemarketing. Know who it is on the other line. We always tell the seniors and all citizens, have the caller ID and use it. If you don't know that number, let the machine get it. Then it gives you that time to hear what it is and hear. If they don't leave a message, they had nothing to tell you or give you. They're hanging up. So
Yeah,
to
we,
take
we
the
just
time
tell
to check
seniors
that.
just hang up
Yes.
because,
Right.
like you said, they're skilled. Where if they get you talking, they're gonna get you.
They have
you're
an
gonna
answer for every
answer for
way
everything.
that you say no.
Get
they
you to
have an
reveal
answer.
too much information about themselves. So just hang up.
A simple case in point, if I may, is the grandparent scam, where they call you up and tell you that your son is in jail or your son is injured or your daughter is injured. A very simple response to that is like, take a breath, slow down, give me a number I can call you back at.
Very good.
Just slow things down. And then, well, unless you, we have to do this right now. No, give me a number where you're at. Tell me what hospital he's at. Tell me what police station he's at. Give me the number. I can look it up online. Pick up your cell phone. Call your daughter. Call your son. Hi, is Timmy there? Is Barb there? Yeah, sitting right here watching TV next to me. Hang up.
Well, and often the senior, the grandparent, will even say the name of the grandchild. And in looking back, the person on the other end didn't really
Yeah.
say, this is Timmy, Grandma. Instead, it's Grandma, I need your help. I need you to do this. And then the senior will say, oh, Timmy, is that you? Well, yes.
Yeah, because she's given
She's just giving you the name.
information.
So
yeah.
the feeding is very good. But these people are fantastic at what they do, you know, from a criminal standpoint. Not saying that they're great,
No,
but
I understand.
But I'm just saying that they're very good at what they do, and they probably would make tons of money in a legitimate field. But they've chosen this field.
So if a senior feels that they've been targeted, are there some websites or some phone numbers perhaps that they can
We'll start off with Eric
Contact.
first.
Our office, IllinoisAttorneyGeneral.gov. They can go there. We have our Silver Beat program where we have partnered up with Age Options to train seniors on these scams, how to protect themselves, how to go out and reach other seniors who aren't able to make it to a training, because a lot of seniors are immobile or aren't able to leave their home, you know, the hard to reach population. So they could get more information from our office that way, or they can contact our senior fraud hotline, which is 800-243-5377, and that's actually staffed by seniors, so they can call our
And
office and talk
what's
to a
nice
senior.
about that too is that it's someone answering that phone number. It's not an automated system that often will frustrate seniors and make them hang up and then not do a report. The Attorney General actually has people answering those phones and talking to the person calling in.
And one of our responses is Katie runs the senior program, and you might be able to contact Katie and maybe set up, you know, where we would come out and talk to your group. You know, we feel that education is one of the best responses to this biggest problem. If we can get people to understand and know what's going on, we probably might be able to solve a lot of crimes up ahead.
Are these scams racial or ethnic based, or do they run the gamut of people in terms of?
In our opinion, they run the gamut. They're from young to completely old. Race has really no factor in it. If they feel that you have money, they just want it and they want to take it away from you. So it's not a target-specific crime where they're just picking on Asian groups, or they're picking on African American groups, or they're picking on white groups. It's across the board. They just want your money. The only color is green. That's the only color they know.
And also, it bridges the technical, the digital divide. If whether you're online or not, you know, the grandparents scam, Facebook is a large way of how they, you know, can set up their victim by finding out the names of, you know, grandparents, grandchildren.
Tell me a little bit more about the Facebook, how that's used to.
Well, you know, Facebook, their privacy settings are difficult for me to navigate. So it's even that much harder for seniors to, you know, put private who their family relationships are. So sometimes that information is public, or sometimes they add people that they don't even know as friends. And even though their information is private, once they added them as a friend, now they have access to who all their family members are.
But like you said, Eric, the thing is like with Facebook, it seems that it's more of a thing about I have 700 friends than it is who do I actually have on my.
Accepting people that you don't know.
But it just seems to be this, oh, I have 700 friends seems to be the big tag
Yeah.
now.
Having the number, the high
Yes.
number.
But if you look at it, Facebook is basically people telling stories about themselves on an open net forum. You know, it doesn't take
And it may not
much.
be the seniors' Facebook page. It may be the families that talks about their grandma that lives in the small town where they grew up, and information about her and that she's coming into town for 3 months. Well, what's happening over there in grandma's house in Iowa then? Well, it's empty. So there's a lot of information that does not belong on Facebook.
And people are amazed when you actually tell them, take a look at some of these Facebook websites, pages, and see how much information you can glean out of it. And it's truly amazing if you just sit back and think about it, and if you read through it, it doesn't take much.
So it's really about guarding your personal space as well as information that may very well be used to create these scams.
Information flow control, that's all it is how much information do I want to put out there, and the information I'm giving out, is there a reason I'm giving it out? You know, if, like you said, if you want to buy a car, you're going to give away your Social Security number to get financing for that car. But if you went to a hot dog stand and they asked for your Social Security number, I know it sounds ludicrous, but how many people would give away their Social Security number at a hot dog stand if somebody just asked them for it?
It's really about being vigilant. I mean, I can't glean enough how much that's important.
It is,
to
and
seniors.
it's the common sense. And I know from working with the senior population, they have more common sense than any generation. But because sometimes of their kindness and their willingness to be open to anyone and have conversations with anyone, they become targeted and they become victims.
Well, I want to thank you guys for your information. It's been wonderful, and I'm sure that it will be very helpful to those that are out there listening.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
very
having
much.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you.